I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncers' guilt rings.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm with the big man himself, Big Kody, Big Mommaerts. And what the, like, I need a nickname like that, Big Mo. What am I, just little Andy, small Andy, wee Andy? What have I got?
Well, I used to be bigger Mo.
Yeah, I know.
I used to, that's where the name originated, is back when I played. But so I'm slightly more slender Mo now, but that's too long. So
You're still 6'7".
Yeah, I still got some size to me, but no, I'm glad you brought that up. People always ask why I went by that. To be totally honest, it's because when I started, my last name, you are like one of the few people that I've ever met that have pronounced it like correctly. And obviously the Polish people here, because that's my origin is kind of Hungarian Dutch, so that kind of European name. But it's kind of a messy name. So I was like, all right, well, let's shorten it and let's just go by something simpler. So Big Mo was a nickname I already had. It's 2 syllables, 2 words, 5 letters. It's easy. So that's why I go by Big Mo. It's just easier. So.
Well, you are 6'7". For people that don't know, you did play American football, the sport that I became a big fan of. And I do probably want to talk to you about that because, like I say, I'm Christian McCaffrey's fan. He's moved to the 49ers, so I'm now a 49ers fan. But we'll talk about that later. Yeah, but so we're in Poland. We've got a massive card ahead of us. Now, I've put on my Instagram, on IFL Instagram, my personal Instagram, do not sleep on this Lukas Rozanski and Alan Babic fight. I mean, you mentioned it, Ben's mentioned it, I've mentioned it, Spencer Oliver's mentioned it. You'd be lucky if you say a jab in this fight.
Yeah, it's not, how do I put this lightly? It's not going to be a technical fight. You're not going to see a ton of, it's not Floyd Mayweather type of style, right? They're brawlers, which I love. And I think that has an amazing part in the sport. That's some of the most exciting fights you've ever seen. And these are 2 guys that are not afraid of one another. They're not afraid to get hit. They're not afraid to deliver blows. And when you have that, I think the fans win. I don't know how long it's going to go. If it goes to decision, I will be phenomenally surprised. I think someone's going to go to sleep at some point in the fight.
And I think that's the general consensus with everybody I've spoke to so far. But like I say, it's not just the main event. We've got Big Martin Bakole who returns against Ihor. Now, your pronunciation is probably better than mine. Strufanowski, I believe it is, or something along them lines.
Yeah.
Forgive me. A Ukrainian heavyweight who is an Olympian. Now, we know how well schooled these Ukrainian Olympians are, so it's a tough fight for Martin Bakole if you don't know who Ihor is.
I think I agree, and Martin is kind of the secret of the heavyweight division. That he's talked a lot about his spars that he's had. A lot of people don't believe him. I've heard from inside sources, no, this guy is the real deal. But he's a freak athlete. I was at the public workouts yesterday, and keep in mind this guy weighed in at like 20 stone or something huge today, and he's like 6'4", 6'5". And I saw him leap over the ropes like Chris Eubank, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, who is this guy? And I knew Billy Nelson from when I did the Hafthor Eddie Hall fight, and he trained Hafthor, so that's how I met Billy. And I was like, Billy, is this guy the real deal? And he goes, this guy is the real. No, not that he had belts before, and he's the number 2 ranked in the WBA, so obviously he's the real deal. But Billy was like, no, this guy's the real deal. So I'm excited to see him in action. I love that Boxer signed him, and I think we'll see him in a world title fight sooner rather than later.
I do want to get your thoughts on obviously the big mega fight deal in Saudi Arabia that they're talking about, and your thoughts as a boxing fan, not Big Mo the announcer, but as Big Mo the boxing fan. We'll talk about that. But staying on this card as well, I mean, for being out in Poland, I didn't know what to expect. It's my first fight night in Poland, and I didn't know what to expect in terms of public workout, weigh-in and whatnot. But I enjoyed myself. The fans turned out, they came out, they were boisterous, they were loud when their fighters came out, especially Rozanski, he's from Rzeszów, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Again, you'll correct me, Big Mo, I know what you're like. Thank you very much.
Don't take my job.
No, definitely not me. I'm more of a behind the camera type guy. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun night if you go by what the crowd's been like on the weigh-in and the public workout.
Absolutely, and I think that's what's fun about kind of what Boxer's doing is they're finding these pockets of the market that maybe go a little unseen. Obviously, UK is a big market, America's a big market, Mexico's a big market. You have those markets that are solidified regardless of who goes there. But we did Boxer Paris. Now we're in Poland. We're seeing a good turnout. Paris was sold out for Tony Yoka. I think tomorrow night's going to be pretty much sold out. I think there may be a couple hundred tickets left. So it's going to be a great night. And what it shows is that boxing is a global sport. There's fighters from everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're from Rzeszów, Poland, or if you're from London, or if you're from New York. It doesn't really matter. And fans are going to turn out if they have a fighter that they can get behind. And we saw that. I mean, it was cool. Like the workouts were on like this, it was like this leveled mall basically. And there were fans on every single level. It was sick. It reminded me a lot of the same setup we did for Eubank Smith, of that it had these different levels in the shopping mall. So it was really cool, man. I'm happy to be here. The Polish people have been great. The promotion's been a joy to work with. Had to go with dual announcers because I don't speak Polish. I think I'm good at my job, but I don't speak every language. So that's always fun, and should be a great night for sure.
That's what because I remember Joseph Parker. You announced Joseph and his tribal name,
Yeah.
and your pronunciation. Like I'm not from New Zealand or from them islands, the Pacific Islands. I'm not from them, obviously.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I would struggle. It'd take me a good few attempts to even just nail it.
Absolutely.
You nailed it. So how are you coping with these Polish names?
Well, that moment with Joseph Parker is probably the coolest moment of my career. Me and Joseph still talk about it. I saw him at the Okoli fight and talked to him after, and he came up and gave me a hug, and he called me Oos and everything. And the messages I got from that, because it went viral on TikTok, viral on social media, I got messages from Polynesian people saying, thank you for this. You know, even on New Zealand and Australian television and different Polynesian television, their announcers don't even do it because that's how difficult the names can be. So they said it's rare for our people to be represented like that. Thank you. I got even a couple letters from people. Like, that is the coolest moment of my career. But it goes to show, like, the job that I do, as ridiculous as it is. Like, my job is ridiculous. I get into a ring, I wear a tuxedo, I yell into a microphone, I tell
one in the whole arena that wears a tux.
I tell people information that they already know. I literally get in there and I'm like, here's this person that you already know is right here, and here's all the details. Like, it's a ridiculous job, but it's a powerful job, and it's a part of the show, and if you do things the right way, it has an impact on people, and that's what I love about the job. And Joseph Parker, with his tribal name, Lupe Soliaila Auliamai Latoa, it proved that.
What I was going to say, can you still do it? But you nailed it again.
Absolutely. And so working with, different groups of people, I would say Eastern European names are very difficult. They pronounce their vowels weird, but nothing is more difficult than cities in England. I don't understand how people pronounce some of this. I don't know how Torquay is even, I don't know how you get Torquay. This guy gives me crap about all the time because I remember Brad Paul's, it's Nuki, and I thought it was Nuke or Nuque because I look at the alphabet, but I don't know. But no, but I joke around with that. But no, names are different. I'm pretty solid with all names because what I do is I listen to how people say them, and then once I can hear it a few times, and then I can say it, then I'm good. And I write it phonetically on my cards. I don't write the name how it's written. I write it how it's going to be said, and that kind of helps me as a reference. So there's little tricks to the trade, but Polish names they're actually pretty difficult.
Talking about UK cities, like how would you say Glasgow? As you Glasgow.
Yeah.
How would you say that?
So it's Glasgow.
Right. You know how we say it? Glasgow. Yeah. So we say Glasgow, you say Glasgow. So it's one of them ones.
Well, I thought it was Glasgow. So with my accent, I almost inherently say Glasgow, but that's just because of my Colorado half Southern accent from America. But it is Glasgow. But the fact that you say it like that is just bizarre.
Glasgow.
Glasgow. Yeah.
Get a wee bit anger behind it. Glasgow.
Well, I'm glad you tell me this now after Taylor Cattrall fell through, or else I would have been there and I would have been embarrassing myself.
We do say Glasgow, but it's a Scottish way of saying it. But yeah, talking about big fights, the Taylor Cattrall fights, and then you've had Savannah Marshall, Liam Smith, Chris Eubank won, and your sort of career. I remember we done an interview, Smith McKinnell, was it? Was that the first time we met?
Yeah.
That was way back in June last year, so that's almost been a year.
Wow.
Almost been a year, Kody, and you're still here, you're still rocking and rolling. So the big fights, you've done quite a few now. You've done your first pay-per-view in Smith and Eubanks I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to get a second fight, do you believe?
I think so. I think we're close from what I gather. I think it's the fight to make. There was a rematch clause, but then there was some delay with it. I don't work on that side, but I'm happy it's almost done. I think that fight makes a lot of sense. I think that Chris Eubank is going to have something to prove now. I think he was dealing with a lot of stuff at the time, the weight cut from the Conor Benn fallout, and I get that. And he had a new trainer with Roy Jones, and I don't know if maybe that had something to do with it. Who knows? But Liam Smith was dominant, and Liam Smith proved what I think a lot of people had him as the underdog, and he proved no. I'm the guy around here, and I love to see that. Liam's probably been up there with one of my best friends that I made here. Me and Liam have actually become pretty close. He gave me a little bit of a jab at the press conference. I remember when I said Chris Eubank was a world champion, and he was like giving me crap about it, and that was kind of funny. So no, I'm excited to see that rematch. I hope it gets made soon. Sounds like we have an announcement soon, so fingers crossed.
You said the jab, it was a verbal jab. Not
Yes.
a jab, right? Because he gave me a left hook to the body and it sunk me for 20 seconds. So I was going to say boy, but that Liam would probably kick my ass if I called my boy. That man can hit.
Yeah, that I remember seeing that video, and I was like, that doesn't surprise me. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big guy, but I'm not a boxer, that's for sure. And so I don't want to take any type of punch from Liam. I'm good.
Definitely.
Liam, I'm good. I'll announce you however you want to announce me. Just don't pick no fights with me. So
That's what I'm saying, but you must get excited yourself. See when boxers have these announcements and they're all imminent, and as an announcer, the whole point, obviously, I get excited. If somebody says to me, Andrew, you're going to Vegas for the Canelo Bivol fight, or you're going to Vegas, I'm like, yes. Or if an announcement is made, I'm sitting there waiting for the phone call to say, Andrew, you want to cover this fight. As an announcer, you must feel the same when boxers have all these fights and you can hear rumblings of mega fights might be getting made. You as an announcer must be like, I hope it gets made, because that would be me to call X fighter and Y fighter in the same ring. That'd be an amazing part of my career. Do you think like that?
kind of, but not really. I don't really think about it from a... I think about it from a personal standpoint. Like, obviously, I understand what calling a fight like that means, but to be honest, I'm focused on growing Boxer, because I understand that if Boxer wins, I win. If Boxer grows, I grow. And so my focus on when I see those announced, I'm like, this is great for the Boxer brand. Obviously, I'm the beneficiary of it, but I recognize that it's just a progression in what Boxer's doing. You know, I think it's the fact that Boxer is already getting the jabs that we're getting from other promotions, the fact that, you know, some of the fans are already starting to take notice of what we're doing. People forget that Boxers did basically a year in. A year. And we're on Sky, we're putting on these big fights, we're going toe-to-toe with other promotions. It's amazing how quickly Ben has built this thing. It really, truly is. And it's amazing the partnership that we have with Sky. And I believe that Boxer will be the dominant boxing promotion. You can put me on record for that. I believe in the product. I believe in the job that I can do and the role that I can play in it. And yeah, I think that Boxer is set for a massive rest of 2022 or 2023, and away we go.
I'm glad you sort of mentioned all that, your part in growing Boxer, because there is a show clash on May 27th. We do have BT, Sky and DAZN going at each other. We do have 3 world title fights with the 3 different promotions and networks. We do have Chris Smith against Okolie for Okolie's world title. We've got Lara and Wood rematch for the WA title down at featherweight. Then we've got the other featherweight fight out in Belfast with Ireland's Mick Conlon taking on Lopez for the IBF featherweight world title. I mean, you said it yourself there. You are part of the promotion. You are part of the entertainment. We've spoke about this before. I don't want to go over it again, but you have spoke about that. It's an entertainment business, and you bring the entertainment. That's what it's about. So, what do you think about the show clash? 2 parts to this question: the show clash going up against each other, and obviously your role in all that to bring that entertainment.
What an amazing time to be a boxing fan. You know, competition is the best thing for the consumer. I've said it before. You know, the fact that there's this many options is a good thing. It is a good thing. The fact that boxing viewers at home, the fact that you can change the channel and go to one fight. And by the way, it's probably not the last time this is going to happen. When you have 4 great promotions domestically and now international as well, it's going to happen. And you have so much talent here. And this is such a hub for boxing to where this is going to continue to happen. And I think that even American fighters are starting to see kind of the draw of this part of the world and how big this is for boxing. So it's only going to continue to happen. it's a double-edged sword of the industry. I don't think it's good if it was only one promotion that was doing well. I think it's a good thing that there's so many different options, both for the consumer and the individual boxers. It's unfortunate when it happens, because it's unfortunate for me too. I want to watch those fights. I want to watch the Lara Wood rematch. Like, that's a great fight, right? So obviously I'm going to be preoccupied at the time. But no, it's just great. And I maintain that we put on a great show. We're going to continue to put on a great show. We're going to put on the best show. And I think that the atmosphere, I can tell you what, I'll be honest, that night we will have the best show. Chris Billam-Smith's shows at Bournemouth every single time have been electric. And now we're bringing a world title to Bournemouth in the Bournemouth Soccer Stadium. I mean, can't beat that. I'm going to be honest here. You can't beat that. Okoli's going on the road to defend his title.
I'm going to play devil's advocate then, because Mick Conlan in Belfast, a world title fight in Belfast. I've been to Belfast on numerous occasions, and they turn out, and obviously Wood Lara, the first fight, do you know what I mean? What an exciting fight that was. So, I mean,
I'm a competitive.
I know, and you've got to stick. You've got to listen. You're loyal to your crew, if that makes sense. But I mean, the Belfast crowd are going to turn up for Mick for a world title, and in Wood Lara, it's going to be a tremendous fight.
I hope they do. I want boxing to win, because we all win if boxing wins. So I hope they have great nights. Of course.
Good. I'm going to do a hard segue, right? And it's going to be a hard segue, because I'm going to talk about American football, because
Do it.
in Lewis will be testament to this. You can't change teams in football in the UK. You can't go from Man United to Liverpool. You can't go from Arsenal to Chelsea. You can't do it. I can't go Rangers to Celtic. You can't do it. However, you know I'm a massive fan of Christian McCaffrey, the running back who was with the Carolina Panthers, and he's from your state. He's now went to the 49ers.
Oh yeah.
Does that mean I can be a 49ers fan now? Or yeah, fine, fuck it, I'm a 49ers fan then.
Absolutely. Like I said, enjoy the sport. Change teams if you want, especially when you're not even from the damn country where. To be honest, like when I got here, I was surprised how many people here were NFL fans. I just had no idea, just because we're so infatuated with the American side of it. I remember we did the show at the OVO at Wembley. That was Vidal Riley. That was Adam Azim. And I remember, like, it finally pieced in my head that we do the NFL games at Wembley. And I remember seeing all the NFL jerseys in the hotel. I was like, where am I right now? Like, then it registered to me how many people here are NFL fans. So root for any team you want. As long as I love Christian. So it's a good team to root for.
Definitely. And the 49ers are a good team, and they're probably, if you were to ask anyone if they could name an American football team, it would either be sort of like the Giants, the Cowboys, or the 49ers. So that's probably the big three that they would mention. But you've been an athlete, you've done it, you've played at the highest level. Second highest level. It's a high level. It's more than high school. You played college, so it's like, if people don't know American football, college is almost sort of like the championship of the Premier League. You know what I mean? You got the Premier League and the Championship, but even though it's a shame that the college players don't get paid, but you do play at an elite level. Yes. So you've been there, you've done it, you've played at a sport at elite level. Do you miss it? Do you miss that sort of competitive edge where you're getting hit in the head and getting tackled and all that? Do you miss that?
I miss it. I do. I don't miss the injury side of it. Blew my shoulder out. My back hurts all the time. My knees ache. My knees crack every morning.
You go first class next time you fly them, Kody.
I'm working, yeah, absolutely, when I can. And so I don't miss that side of it. But I do miss, releasing aggression. That's an important thing. And I miss the competitiveness. And it's fun taking that competitive drive and applying it to something like ring announcing. That's kind of an obscure thing, but I enjoy it. I miss the team camaraderie. That's really what I miss. I was definitely, I like being a part of a team. That's why I love doing what I do now. And, I talked to Sky about it, and I talked to Boxer about it. I was coached on the concept of doing your 111th. You have 11 players on the field. If everyone does their 111th, does their job, we're going to be pretty successful. So that's how I approach the work that I do, is that if I do my job great, then that's one job that Boxer doesn't have to worry about, that Sky doesn't have to worry about it. I'm a perfectionist with what I do. If everyone does their job, we have a good show. If Anna Woolhouse is good, we're good. If Johnny Nelson is good, we're good. If Andy Clark is good, we're good. Matt Macklin's good, we're good. If the timekeeper's good, we're good. If I'm good, we're good. If the camera people are good. If everyone does their job, we're going to have a great broadcast. That's why I enjoy being a part of these teams, because from my aspect, I think we put on a really, really, really top-notch show.
I've got to ask then, obviously, the world of boxing has been shook up a little bit in terms of the sort of drug use, and with Conor Benn and now the McCART story, and now 2 days ago Albert Puello has just been popped with a drug, steroid, I think it was clomiphene as well. He was meant to be fighting Rolly Romero for the WBA 140-pound title. As that sort of playing at that elite level, what was it like in American football? You probably can answer for the NFL as well. If you get popped with a steroid in the NFL or college, what happens to you?
So there's a variety of ways that a testing can occur, and it may have changed since I played. So if this is dated, I apologize. But you could have instances where a team just wanted to have themselves tested. That was rare because that usually costs money. But it was randomized drug testing. You have to understand that on college teams, there's upwards of 100 some odd players when you count walk-ons, things like that. So the NCAA did randomized drug testing throughout. Occasionally they would test for
Random players or
randomly selected. Right. So they would go to a team and they would just randomly pick them because the logistics of testing everyone is impossible. And on the performance enhancing side, they would test for masking agents, steroids, inflated levels of testosterone, things like that. And so I've been around drug testing. Been drug tested, and I train at a bodybuilding gym. I've been around steroid use, things like that. Know people that have taken it. Know people in the NFL. It's a variety of things. I've been around it before, and so that's what kind of makes the whole situation with boxing interesting. Is I remember when I got here. And got the job is like right around when the Conor Benn stuff started. And I remember people explaining to me what happened, and where I'm confused on the whole thing is I feel like so much of the conversation has been around the politics or the arguments and things like that, or who said what first, or what document came here, or whatever. It's like we're forgetting the fact that it tested positive. I feel like the focus has shifted away from kind of keeping the integrity of the sport. And this isn't about Conor Benn. It's happened with Alberto Puello. It happened with Amir Khan. Whatever happens, if we have these systems in place to maintain a standard, if we don't maintain the standard, then it's pointless. We have these institutions and we have these organizations, whether it be VADA, whether it be UCAT, whose job it is to, at their best possible approach, to keep the sport clean as possible, especially with a sport that is contact. I come from a contact sport. That's why football doesn't mess around with it, because people die. People die in boxing, people break their necks in football, people break their necks in boxing, concussions, all that type of stuff. So you can't mess around with it, which is kind of why this whole situation's been a little kind of strange to me, because I feel like we've been caught up in everything except for the fact that he tested positive. And it's not even, this isn't a Conor Benn specific, this isn't a Matchroom specific, this isn't a British Boxing Board of Control specific thing. It just comes down to as simple as this. If you test positive, regardless of the situation, there needs to be some kind of punishment that comes down. Amir Khan got suspended. Did Alberto Puello get? Yeah,
he's not fighting.
He's definitely not fighting, right? So there needs to. It just needs to keep the standard. If we have these systems in place, but we don't allow them to have the ability to keep the standard, then what's the point? I don't really understand it. I feel like we've been caught up in everything except for that. I believe in strict liability, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, Kody, I've got 2% left on my battery. I've had you for 23 minutes going on, so listen, I could talk to you all day about American football. Maybe we'll do one day when it's just like American football on IFL TV. Watch a game together. Definitely, can probably explain a little bit better than me, but like I say, 2% on this battery, and you're probably a perfect way to end it rather than me asking another question, which will probably just be about American football anyway. But to transition to that drug testing stuff to boxing, man, I loved it, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. But listen, fight night tomorrow night. Excited? Let's do it.
Let's have a good show. Thank you, fight fans. Follow me on social media. Hit me up. I always respond. Follow IFL TV. Follow Big Mo. Follow Boxer, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Definitely. Thanks, Kody.
Refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt rings.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,